U.S. case against Adani targets a close ally of Indian Prime Minister Delhi. When U.S. prosecutors Wednesday unveiled fraud and bribery allegations against Gautam Adani, they charged not just one of India's top business figures, but a man seen as an arm of Indian domestic and foreign policy, and a proxy for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The billionaire has accompanied Modi on trips abroad and struck infrastructure deals with India's geopolitical partners, from Sri Lanka to Israel. At home, he has followed Modi's energy and manufacturing policies, helped him broker political alliances, and encouraged patriotic Indians to view his business success as a reflection of India's rise. Given Adani's closeness to the Prime Minister, the federal charges could complicate U.S.-India relations just weeks before President-elect Donald Trump's second term begins, analysts said. In recent years, Adani has faced mounting scrutiny from domestic critics and foreign investors over what they said were tax breaks and favorable treatment he has received from Modi and friendly foreign governments. But officials from Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party have often rallied around Adani and characterized his critics as enemies of India. The Biden administration was hoping to go out on a high note with India, and this will obviously sour the mood, said Milan Vaishnav, director of the South Asia program at the Brookings Institution. On Wednesday, the Justice Department and the Securities Exchange Commission accused Adani, his nephew Sagar Adani, and 6 associates of lying to U.S. investors about their business practices between 2020 and 2024. In that time, according to court documents, Gautam Adani's fast-growing conglomerate was seeking to sell more than $1 billion in bonds, and Adani and his associates assured investors that they follow the law even as they conspired to bribe Indian officials with $250 million in payments. In the indictment, prosecutors say they detained Sagar Adani in the United States in 2023 and obtained evidence from his confiscated phone. Arrest warrants have been issued for Gautam Adani and his nephew, court records show. The Adani Group has denied the allegations as baseless and said in a statement it would seek all possible legal recourse. Another $600 million bond offering the company had been pitching was called off in the wake of the U.S. allegations, the company told Indian regulators Thursday. Whatever the case's outcome, the charges could threaten Adani's access to global capital markets and derail his ambitious domestic and overseas plans, which have often overlapped with Modi's development agenda. What this for the first time reveals is a paper trail, said Ashoka Modi, a Princeton economist. It has taken the U.S. judicial system to unearth a vast alleged bribery scheme. Since 2014, when Modi campaigned to become prime minister while flying on an Adani Group jet, the conglomerate has played a key role behind the Indian leader's push to modernize India's infrastructure. Adani has acquired 8 airports and 13 seaports that account for a quarter of India's air passenger traffic and 24% of its seaport capacity. After Modi outlined ambitious plans for India to shift toward renewable energy, Adani, briefly ranked the world's second richest man in 2022, spent billions pivoting to the solar panel industry. And as Modi began to play a greater role on the international stage and present India as the leader of the global South countries, Adani, too, has ventured abroad to strike a growing number of strategic deals. He contracted with Bangladesh to provide power at highly favorable rates, beat Chinese bidders to acquire the Haifa port in Israel, and sought to lease the Nairobi airport in Kenya. After Sri Lanka handed control of a strategic port to China in 2017, alarming officials in both New Delhi and Washington, the U.S. government announced it would back Adani with a $500 million investment to build another port terminal in the Sri Lankan capital. When you think of Adani, you think of Modi, said Harish Damodaran, author of the book India's New Capitalists. Modi has been clear that foreign policy should advance India's economic interests, which has often been synonymous with the interests of a few conglomerates, particularly Adani. Some Indian and U.S. analysts say that law enforcement cases should be seen as distinct from the overall U.S. policy toward India. Nevertheless, bilateral ties over the past year have been affected by another federal case, alleging that an Indian intelligence officer attempted to assassinate an American separatist on U.S. soil. On Thursday, Indian hardliners warned that the Adani case could have diplomatic repercussions. The U.S. should focus on cleaning up in its own house, said former Indian Foreign Secretary Kanwal Sehgal. Such buccaneering will cost India's relations